Today, I'm reviewing Nation Extreme Wrestling 14 from the Commodore Ballroom in Vancouver. First off, Rob Fay, he starts off the show by saying, "This is going to be my last show, but I've got someone to take over." Immediately, Vancouver wrestling fan in me says, "Sweater Vest," and boom, glass shatters. We've got Sweater Vest back in Vancouver for what feels like forever. Being with a former wrestling company, Sweater Vest was an absolute icon within the wrestling industry, and I am very excited to hear his iconic voice back in Vancouver at the Commodore for Nation Extreme Wrestling. Never felt so good to chant that Sweater Vest chant.
It's been a long time since I've been here to the Commodore! And it's been a long time since I've said, Vancouver! Are you ready? This is NEW!
First up on the docket is Michael Richard Blaze, the Rhinestone Cowboy Stephen Crow, the Clandestine Society, versus the Vinki twins. And despite popular belief, they are not the Island Boys, and they do not kiss each other. We had a couple of Warhouse comebacks. They were, of course, playing the babyfaces in this evening. One of the best moments of this match was an amazing full 360 leg drop on a dangling Warhouse twin coast to coast from Blaze. What an amazing move, but it wasn't enough for the victory. Babyface victory for the Da Vinci twins on the night. Out comes Aubrey Edwards for that Pacific Northwest pop, coming from Seattle just down the I-5. Right here in Vancouver for this weekend to do a couple of matches for NEW. Great having Aubrey Edwards in the building. The match that she refereed first was Daniel Makabe versus Cat Power, and I absolutely love Cat Power. Just feels like something's a little bit missing with Daniel Makabe when he comes to Vancouver. Great wrestler, but nothing that really wows the crowd, which definitely is missing in an indie show just like this one. We saw a great technical showcase, though, from these two. Win with a roll-up by Cat Power. Boom, away she goes. On to the next match for the King of the Commodore. Sweater Vest says it best himself as he takes on New Japan Strong's Royce Isaacs. Always amazing seeing an LP entrance in the Commodore Ballroom, really stealing the show no matter what show he's on in Vancouver. He stopped by to see some of the fans before and after his match. It was fantastic that he really shows up for the crowd. But I thought to myself, how long until it takes until we see a titty twister from LP? It didn't take that long. But one of the best moments from that match for me was when Royce was holding him up and he literally just tosses him into the first, what feels like the first 4 or 5 rows into empty chairs. Crashing down comes LP. We saw that nipple twister spot. Splash doesn't do it from LP, but the what I'm going to call the fairy tale ending from LP closes out that match for him, and still the king of the Commodore, El Phantasmo. Always great to have him back in Vancouver. I am a sucker for multi-man matches, and this one coming up next really proved me right in my thoughts. Malik Mello, big boy, versus Eli Surge. Always wears that conspiracy theorist tinfoil hat. He had some brand new merch. Birds aren't real. He had the flag. He had the t-shirts. So funny. Absolutely love the birds aren't real aspect of his character. Also in that match was Jeremy Prophet, and as well as a NXT UK alum, Amir Jordan. These dudes put on a hell of a show. We had some fun chants with, of course, the birds aren't real chants, some high spots, some conspiracy theorist hijinks, putting that tinfoil hat on other wrestlers throughout the match, dives and dives and dives. And this one ended up with some fun spots in the middle of the ring, but ending it out of nowhere seemingly was Malik Mello with a big splash shock victory. Great wrestling match. Absolutely loved it.
This match simply was not it. Taylor Rising tried to pull a match out of Tara Zepp in her debut match at the Commodore. And, Tara Zepp gave it a college try, just was not what the crowd was searching for tonight. Tara Zepp has a long way to go, and the Lionsgate Dojo is an amazing place, and I know that she's going to do some great stuff with a lot of great training. People like Artemis Spencer, Nicole Matthews, Cat Power, Tony Baroni, all training out of there, and they're going to do some great stuff with Terazep. She's done an amazing job as a manager in that role. And to try and test your limits as a wrestler, it's not easy. So I want to see her continue to grow in that role. But tonight just was not her night.
Next match, for me, easy money, match of the night. Illa Tribe versus Reloaded versus the champions ULT in a TLC tag team match for the titles. One of the best indie matches I've ever seen. To be honest, these dudes all put their bodies on the line tonight. Code Red from the top of a ladder, absolutely smashing their ways through a ladder from the top. That one had our buttholes clinched. Tombstone from the top rope through a table. Double powerbomb through a table. Mwah! Chef's kiss of a match. Again, like I said, match of the night in my books. Reloaded become the first two-time NEW Tag Team Champions. After a follow that match in the TLC Tag Team Titles match, Evan Rivers and Anton Alexiev in that next spot. This was a perfect fit for these guys. They both really go hard in the wrestling paint. In my head, I was kind of thinking like Evan Rivers' character now is sitting in that kind of Drew McIntyre limbo after losing the title a couple of months ago to Fergie. Where does he go from there? And this character change feels extremely effective. He's kind of easing his way into that heel character, and I really enjoyed the work of Evan Rivers tonight versus Anton Alexiev. This was Alexiev's return match from a previous injury, and this one ended in a DQ, which I think was maybe the planned finish. Not too sure, but they did have to call an unfortunate audible as Alexiev injured himself in the match, and we later found out through Twitter that Alexiev announced his retirement due to this injury. Here's to a quick recovery and success in whatever's next for you there, Anton. Next up, the NEW Women's Title match between homegrown talent from Port Coquitlam, Nicole Matthews, versus Taryn from Accounting, who plays a wonderful heel character. And who'd have thought by the end of this one, we'd have an accountant as the NEW Women's Champion. This one, I felt like the crowd was confused. Usually, Taryn from Accounting gets those heel reactions, and of course Nicole Matthews is a profound babyface here in Vancouver, straight-lace ass kicker who loves that local crowd behind her. Turns out I might have just been a little confused because Taryn from Accounting getting those babyface pops, and turns out she goes home with the Nation Extreme Wrestling Women's Championship, and now Nicole is without a title, and like an accountant without a calculator, she's lost. So last up, the main event, the one NEW has been building this event around. Miles Deville versus Sebastian Wolfe in a grudge match for the ages. An absolute stunner of a match here for these boys who have been on a hell of a tag team run, winning titles in NEW, winning titles at Defy, you name it. In the PNW, they had those titles. They even found themselves on the list of PWI's top tag teams. Amazing feats for these young gentlemen who are really making strides in the local wrestling community. And of course, not just locally, but here all in the Pacific Northwest. Really love seeing what these boys have done with this timeline of this story. It's been fantastic. And this is the grudge match that it's all been leading to. Promos, getting involved in each other's faces in matches, getting in Rob Fay's face of all things as well. This match had everything. Handcuffs, thumbtacks, chair shots, glass, former tag team manager interference, Tara Zepp interference. That lady got herself a powerbomb after winning her debut match at the Commodore. The end of this match would have had Cardona proud, blood-drenched clothes, proof that this was more than a grudge match to end the tag team run for the ages. These dudes went to war. I consider Miles a friend of mine, and before the match, I DM'd him rooting for a victory on Instagram, and although Sam Roberts says, we gotta boo the bad guys, it's hard not to cheer for your friend, and all Miles could muster up back after the war was, oops. Big victory for Sebastian Wolfe. I think that man is on his way to a title picture. Dude is a badass. He's a monster. He's going to have a great run coming up here in NEW. And let me know if you're at the show. What are your thoughts?